Okay. So it's hi, I'm Tina Hill. I am half of Ladies of Lanai, and we are back with another installment of Ask a Villager, and this is actually my neighbor. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Peggy Flores.
And what's your relationship status?
I'm widowed.
Okay. And what village do you live in?
DeLuna.
Okay. Where did you live before moving to the villages?
I lived in Nashville.
And how did you first hear about the villages and what made you move here?
Well, I'm from Ocala all my life till I went to school to FSU, so I knew about the villages. My niece's husband works for Gary Jr.
Oh, okay. Why did you decide to live in DeLuna as opposed to any other areas of the villages?
Because I met my neighbor and I said, I want to live next to her wherever she lives. And then I went back home and they never told her that I had bought the house. And so I bought the house and we were so excited. Then a year later, she decides to move to a bigger house and I was so mad.
Oh. Are you going to follow her?
No.
Okay.
I'm not. No, I'm not moving.
Okay. Knowing what you know now, would you choose the same area or somewhere different?
I love this area. We live in the biggest village. We have a ladies' social group. We have a ladies' golf group. We have a regular social club with men and women. There's always something going on down here. Mm-hmm. And there is other places like near Lake Sumter that I've liked. But you know what? When I lived in Atlanta, it was nothing to drive 30 minutes to work. Or in Nashville, I drove 35 minutes to work. So I don't really think anything about driving. If I want to go somewhere, I just get in my truck and go. And I don't really think much about it.
And you do. You're in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. She's all over. How long have you lived in the villages?
Since not this December, but the December before. So a year and like 4 months.
Okay. And how many times have you moved?
Zero.
Zero? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, are you a snowbird, snowflake, or a frog?
I'm going to stay here all the time.
So you're a frog.
Oh, I'm a frog.
Well, they all say you're here till you croak.
Yes, I'm here till I croak.
Okay. Are you retired? Are you still working full or part-time?
No, I'm retired, but I do part-time work for the villages. I work in the rec department.
Okay. What's your favorite venue for enjoying live music and dancing? Because I know you're a dancer.
Yes, I am a dancer. I really like Edna's. I think the outdoor venue, RJ Gator's Outdoors, that's where the musicians like to play, and that's where you always get your best concerts, is where they're so happy to be there, and the people are great, the food's great, the drinks are great, and everybody just has a really good time, and it's real relaxed.
Do you have a favorite band in the villages? Or bands?
Oh, gosh, Dale Stumbo.
I like him.
Big Bad Duo.
What about the big bands?
Oh, well, you know, Johnny Wild, Carrie and Chelsea and Andy.
And what kind of music do they play?
They play all. They're Fancy Reagan, which is their 80s band.
Yeah.
They have the Daisy Band, which is their 70s band. Then they have...
Johnny Wild is also Fancy Reagan?
That is Fancy Reagan. Carrie is Fancy Reagan.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's Fancy Reagan, and their 70s band is Daisy.
Oh, I didn't
that
know.
They just started. Plus, they have the supper clubs, and I really enjoy the supper clubs. They have a show, then you eat.
At the country clubs?
No, it's at Wildwood Community Center.
Oh.
And it's awesome. I've been to
How do you find out about those?
That's on the website, on the...
Wildwood?
No, it's on Johnny... Well, it's on Wildwood's.
Website.
And it's also on Johnny Wild.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, they have it about once a month, and they cater the food, and it's awesome. It's a show and dinner, and, you know, a lot of the same people go, and I always help them sell the 50-50 tickets. So they make a lot of money on that, too.
Okay. Who do you think has the best pizza in or around the villages?
Paisanos.
Okay.
I
That's
think,
a popular answer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite restaurant if you want to splurge?
Oh, Glenview or Red Sauce.
Okay.
Those are two of I do happy hours at Glenview.
I like Glenview.
And Glenview has great food, great service.
It's pretty outside too.
It's beautiful. Jack, the guy that owns it's amazing. They'll do whatever you want them to do. I'm in Girlfriends, and I host an event there every other Tuesday. And we're going to have a cookout one week. They're going to cook out on grills for us.
Okay. Do you have a favorite spot for breakfast or brunch?
Either Glenview or Red Sauce. And then
their Sunday brunch?
Yes, their Sunday brunch. And then IHOP has great.
Yeah.
You can't
Where's
beat
IHOP?
On 466. And it's like nothing's over $7.99. It's an awesome place to eat.
What's your... Oh.
And I was going to say, the best thing is they have strawberry cheesecake pancakes.
Well, what's not to like about that?
Absolutely. The calories.
Well, okay. What's your best advice for airport transportation?
I like the Villages. I met them.
Villages Airport Transportation?
Yes. My old boss flew down from Nashville, and he flew into Sanford. And I went down there and picked him up, and I met the Village guy there. And oh my gosh, for what they charge, I hate to tell Josh, I wouldn't have come down there and got him.
Next time you're on your own.
I told him, I said, I'll hook you up.
We were just talking about this earlier, but do you have a favorite pool or golf course?
Well, I like our DeLuna pool.
The adult one?
The adult pool, yeah. I mean, people are always nice there. We have a lot of fun. People use it for exercise, or they just lay out in the sun. And then I work at Big Cypress, and those pools are awesome too.
Yeah.
Because I keep them up.
Do you have a favorite club that you belong to in the Villages?
Yeah, two, Girlfriends of the Villages and Southern Villages Fun Girls.
Yeah. Are they fun?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Villages Fun Girls are awesome. Kelly's amazing.
Okay. Golf cart, gas or electric?
Gas.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want a battery in the garage. It could catch on fire.
Oh no. Do you have a favorite beach that you can drive to from the Villages?
Well, my brother used to live at in Palm Harbor, and I love that. And we stayed at Clearwater with the Southern Villages Fun Girls for a weekend type thing, and that beach was awesome too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was awesome.
What was nice about Clearwater? Because I hear a lot of people go to Clearwater.
It's the white sandy beaches. You can walk up and down. There's millions of shells. It's not.
How far away is it?
Probably 2 hours, something like that. It's very close, and there's so much to do there. We were busy the whole time we were there, just walking up and down the beach. There were several restaurants and bars right there where we could walk. It's just kind of, I like the atmosphere there.
Okay. Where's your favorite place to take visitors? Where'd you take your boss? Are you going to say the bars?
Yeah. To the squares. We went to Edna's. We went to the square. Of course, that was before Mike's accident, so we went to Bluefin. And then we went, of course, to Lake Sumter. We went to Red Sauce and R.J. Gators. So we just kind of gave him a tour because being from Nashville, he was kind of used to the things we did.
Oh, okay. I would say I like to call Peggy the mayor of the Villages because she goes everywhere and everybody knows her everywhere that we go. So it's good to hang out with her. What would you say is a best kept secret about the Villages or in the Villages? Do you have a...
I think people, well, I know people have the wrong idea a lot of times of what the Villages is all about and what goes on. I haven't found any of the myths to be true. I found that people are very nice to each other. I think they're very considerate of each other. What you have to remember is everybody in the Villages was movers and shakers in their previous life. So you have a lot of type A personalities running around. Yeah. And sometimes type A and type A bump heads. But you usually can work through it and come to a solution in the end.
Okay, that's good. And on that note, what's your advice for making new friends and meeting new people in the Villages? Like if you're new here, or even if you've been here a while and you're shy, like how do you...
Well, you just, find somebody that you can hook on to, and sorry, that you can hook up with and go places. I mean, the clubs are a great way. Southern Villages Fun Girls has something called intentional friending. Excuse me, intentional friendships. And what we do is we get together and you partner up with people you don't know, and then you, after that, you tell about yourself. Then you partner up with people that, like, what one thing in the village haven't you tried that you want to try? Then all those people that have the same interests get into a group, and then you figure out how you can go do it. Like this Tuesday morning, I'm going to do cardio drumming in the water. I'd never done that.
In the water?
In the water, but I have a knee injury, so it will behoove me to be in the water. And one of the girls that was my friend is teaching it, and I never knew she did it.
Huh, interesting.
And I've been to...
I like that idea of the intentional friendship.
Oh, it's awesome.
That's
Kelly
nice.
does a great job. Our church got us started on it, and then Kelly has taken it, Southern Villages Fun Girls, and run with it, and they do something once every about 2 weeks, and they just pick different locations. Like last time we were at Edna's when Dale Stumbo was there, but it was a little hard to talk, so next time we're going, I think it's Tuesday, we're going to a pavilion, so it's easier to talk and hear people.
What was something that surprised you after you moved to the villages?
How much the bond and the taxes were at the end of the year.
Okay.
No, I mean, just how really friendly everybody is, and how really everybody is so willing to help each other. Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is ask, and there'll be somebody there to help you.
That's it. So what's something you learned how to do after you moved to the villages?
My lawn.
I see you out there mowing, trimming, pulling weeds.
Yeah, well, my husband would be laughing, I can promise you. He told me before he passed away that I could never live without him because I couldn't do the yard work. So I know he was laughing the first few times. And my Bob Braun helps me. He's my handyman. And him and Rick came over and gave me lessons on weed eating, because that was one thing I didn't know how to do. Oh. It was pretty bad in the beginning. Okay. But I'm okay now. I can do it.
What's something else besides lawn care that you learned how to do? Anything?
I think organize my time better. Because there's so many things that I want to do, and I have to work it all out. And that takes some doing sometimes, especially working part-time.
Okay. What's something you wished you knew before moving here to the villages?
How much everything was going to cost.
Oh, okay. You feel it's more than in Nashville?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't have the bond and the taxes. Yeah. And I was in an apartment there. Okay. So it's just all... And when I first got there, right after my husband passed away, if I'd have bought a house right then, I'd have been fine. But my son's company, he changed jobs and said they were going to move closer to his company. Well, then COVID hit, and he's not ever going back to work in the corporate office. So they're staying where they're at. And I could have already had a house and been at like nothing interest, or... You know, I could have done it a whole lot. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20 all the time.
That's right.
And everything happens for a reason, and you end up where you're supposed to.
That's right. So then what did your family and friends say when you moved here?
Well, they were glad because my family's from Ocala.
Yeah, so they know.
My son wasn't happy, and my grandson from Nashville definitely isn't happy that Grammy's not around to bring him his toys.
So complete this sentence. You'd never believe it, but in my life before the villages, I
worked at Vineyard Vines. I did medical billing, and I have 2 master's degrees from FSU.
What are your masters in?
Social work and education.
Oh, my.
And I taught driver's ed. for like 35 years. And I still have hair. It is gray.
I was just saying, and anyone, she drives this big truck, and I'm like, this tiny little thing in this truck, if you could drive
that's because it was my husband's, and we bought it right before we found out he was sick, and he would not be happy with me if I got rid of it. I really would like to.
Oh, okay.
Because it is pretty big for me.
Oh. So finish this sentence. I really wish the villages had...
I wish my house was different and was a little bit better quality, and that I could have said, this is what I wanted in my house, and they could have built it around.
For it to be like a custom build?
Yes, more a custom build. Okay. And they were offering that somewhat when I moved here, or when I first looked. But then by the time I decided to move, they had stopped all that. And now you can't do any of that in any of the houses.
Oh, well. And then lastly, the last question is, I think Eastport will be...
a Mecca. Because Middleton is going to be the middle of the villages. They've already bought the land all the way. I mean, soon we'll be able to just get on a little train and go straight to Disney World. Because we already live at Disney World.
Did you see the video that they just put out on Eastport? From the villages, I think it's at Tracy and Devin. Tracy, you know, the developer, and her daughter. And like they did kind of like a little projection of like where they are and what they're doing. It looks pretty amazing.
Oh, no. Anything... When Gary and Ike and Howard Schwartz first started building this, my niece's father-in-law was the developer. Was the surveyor. So to even having lived in Ocala when this first started, you can't believe what is even here now. Because when I was in high school, we used to come to Wildwood. And I laughed because I said the police now are just as bad as they always were about speeding when we used to come here before. And, you know, like Dale Stumbo talks about it because he's lived here all his life, and John Johnson, this used to be just land. And they used to come over here, and Dale talks about when he first got his first car, how they used to do donuts over there where Edna's is now. So, I mean, it's just phenomenal what... And who could have ever thought that it would ever end up like this?
Right. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, well, the head guy, Harold Schwartz, which was Gary Morris's daddy, well, his stepdaddy. I mean, it's just amazing to even have the forethought.
Right, to have the vision.
And my brother, in the beginning, the villages was mobile homes.
That's
and
what I heard.
Yes, and my brother sold all the mobile homes to Gary and Harold and a guy named Ike Rainey when all this started. So, yeah, he knows all about all of it.
I remember when my friend Nellie first moved down, because she is a salesperson, a realtor salesperson here. And one of the things she was saying is that he believed that you work hard your whole life and that everyone should be able to retire like a millionaire. You know, no matter what your career was or how much you have, but to live this kind of lifestyle. And they say that in the villages you don't really buy for the house, you buy for the lifestyle. And it's one of those things that if you don't know, you don't know. Like,
oh, absolutely. When I first moved here, like I said, I bought my house because of my neighbor Mary Zykowski, and I mean, the house was just a house, but I also had a house burned down in Atlanta from the hurricane. So I guess to me a house really truly is just a house. When you watch one burn down, it doesn't matter after that. I didn't really care. I liked the yard and I liked my neighbors, so I bought the house.
Okay. All right. Well,
now I'm like, I could have a few more places to put things now.
There you go. Well, you never know what the future brings.
That's true.
Well, thank you for stopping by.
Okay.
From across the street. Pinning her down just to do this took forever.
It's a long walk.
And so hopefully you like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.